Boruto and Momoshiki will never be able to defeat Jura in a fight. And if you think the new Uzuhiko technique and Boruto's deal with Momoshiki Otsutsuki are going to solve everything, then I've got some bad news for you. You need to go back and remember the canon of the Naruto universe, because once you do, everything starts making sense. But before we get into that, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the videos I upload every single day. There's always going to be something new for you to watch, and you'll always stay updated on everything happening in the series. When I first saw Jura, I didn't feel the same kind of villain energy that came from Ishiki Otsutsuki. What I felt was depth. This isn't Code with his inferiority complex, and it's not Momoshiki Otsutsuki with his god complex either. This is something completely different, and that difference is exactly where the secret behind his invincibility comes from. So who is Jura really? To understand why physical attacks are useless against him, you first have to understand his biology. We're used to the idea that everyone in the Naruto world has some kind of weak point. But Jura isn't a shinobi, and that means there are no weak points here. Here's the important part. In the manga, we were shown the other Shinju, Hidari, Matsuri, and Ryu. They were created from regular people, and they possess a thorn soul bulb, which acts as a core that Boruto Uzumaki learned how to locate in order to free the trapped shinobi. But Jura is an anomaly, because he wasn't born from a shinobi at all. He's the direct incarnation of the Ten Tails itself, the Jubi. Jura is basically the personified will of primordial chakra. There's nothing human or shinobi-like inside him, nothing that can be extracted. Jura doesn't have a vital point because he himself is the vital point of the entire planet. The idea I'm trying to get across is this. Jura is basically a biological supercomputer that finally became self-aware, and his goal isn't just to destroy the shinobi world, it's to understand it. But his way of understanding something is by consuming it. A lot of people forget about the official sources, like the databooks and the actual canon material. If you open the 4th databook, it straight up says that the Ten Tails possesses absolute immortality, and that's not just dramatic wording for hype. It's presented as a literal fact. Any physical attack against it is useless. Think back to the 4th Great Ninja War. The Ten Tails survived the explosion of its own tailed beast bomb from inside its body. It just swelled up a little like a balloon and then returned to normal. Jura inherited all of those properties. His regeneration operates on a submolecular level, and his entire body is made of chakra. If your opponent regenerates faster than you can damage them, then your strength just becomes a faster way to exhaust yourself. And honestly, that's exactly how Boruto's fight against Jura felt to me. Because if you really remember the canon, then you already understand that this battle was leaning in one direction from the very beginning. At a certain point, the outcome honestly started to feel obvious. Now let's move on to our secret helper, named Momoshiki Otsutsuki. Why won't Momoshiki help? A lot of people are hoping he'll come out and save everyone. Guys, let's be honest here. Momoshiki Otsutsuki just doesn't feel like the ultimate threat anymore. Yeah, he's got his Rinnegan in his hand and he can absorb ninjutsu. But against Jura, that means nothing. First of all, Jura uses wood release and the physical body of the Ten Tails itself. Those aren't pure chakra attacks, they're physical objects. I seriously doubt Momoshiki Otsutsuki is going to absorb a giant log flying at his face if it isn't entirely made of chakra. Honestly, that would look pretty wild to see. Second, Momoshiki Otsutsuki is a conqueror, not a sealing specialist. The entire culture of the Otsutsuki clan revolves around consuming planets weaker than them. Which means Momoshiki Otsutsuki has probably never fought an opponent who was even equal to him, let alone stronger than him. I doubt anyone like that had ever crossed his path before now. Momoshiki Otsutsuki fears Jura more than he fears Boruto Uzumaki, because Jura is basically a predator that came hunting another predator. Momoshiki's logic is simple: use Kawaki as food for the divine tree. But what he doesn't understand is that the current Ten Tails, in the form of Jura, has stopped being a tool. It became an independent being, and now it wants to devour the Otsutsuki themselves. It's like your dinner suddenly grabbing a fork and staring back at you like you're the meal. If you look throughout the entire history of the shinobi world, nobody has ever truly destroyed the Ten Tails. Not even Hagoromo Otsutsuki managed to do it. The only solution was always sealing it away or splitting it apart. Hagoromo Otsutsuki divided its chakra into the 9-tailed beasts and threw the empty shell onto the moon. And this is where we reach the biggest modern-day problem. The Uzumaki clan, the masters of sealing techniques, basically no longer exists as a clan or a village. The shinobi world forgot how to forge chains, while the monster those chains were meant to restrain became 10 times stronger. Techniques on the level of Chibaku Tensei are basically inaccessible now. Kawaki, with Ishiki Otsutsuki's abilities, can shrink objects or store them in a pocket dimension, but that isn't true sealing. It's just a temporary solution. Now, if everything is really this hopeless, and Momoshiki Otsutsuki can't actually do anything against Jura, then there's an obvious question you probably want to ask me. Why did Momoshiki claim he could win and agree to make a deal with Boruto in the first place? I actually spent a long time thinking about this myself. But in the end, the answer became pretty simple once you look at his motivations. Momoshiki Otsutsuki said he could defeat Jura because he wanted to gain Boruto's trust and eventually break him mentally. Boruto Uzumaki is relying on him right now, and once he realizes that even with Momoshiki's power, he still can't stand against Jura, that's when Boruto could completely lose hope. And in that moment, Momoshiki Otsutsuki will be able to take control and fully resurrect himself. Basically, Momoshiki is giving Boruto false hope now, so the emotional impact hits even harder later. That's classic Momoshiki behavior. He's been openly manipulative since the very beginning of the story, but somehow people forgot that and started convincing themselves he's going to become friends with Boruto. Personally, I think a lot of fans are underestimating Momoshiki's real intentions. So now let's summarize what actually needs to happen in order to defeat Jura. First, people need to understand that physically, Jura is invulnerable because of his nature as the incarnation of the 10 tails. His regeneration and understanding of chakra make modern techniques almost useless. Second, people need to remember that Momoshiki Otsutsuki is not an ally, he's a future threat. And finally, history itself shows that sealing is the only real answer, but the shinobi world no longer has the tools needed to accomplish it. That creates a complete existential dead end, and the only logical path forward would be finding a fully restored Rinnegan and obtaining 6 Paths chakra, or searching for ancient sealing techniques from the Uzumaki clan. Do you believe Boruto Uzumaki will find a way to seal Jura, or are we heading towards some completely unexpected twist instead? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and definitely subscribe to the channel because a brand new video is coming very soon.